It's now Thursday, March 21. It's about a quarter till 9 o'clock a.m. And it was very interesting yesterday after well, not surprising, but after the FOMC announcement, they rocketed up. And then after the market closed, they continued higher. They actually went over 30 S&P points after the close from yesterday. Essentially, the close here is at this 520.50 area. And they went about 30 points or so. They're currently at 523, been hovering around there for a while, but all the dash lines here would be kind of more cautionary levels to trade. Really, all of them, honestly, because they're just kind of not acting usual or acting normal. And I say that like, well, they've been in a bullish trend. We'll take a look at some larger time frames, and there's nothing unusual about that. But just kind of the way they're acting and where they're at and how far extended they are, just kind of makes you wonder. You got to ask yourself, at what point will there be a correction? Let's take a look at that weekly chart one more time. So yesterday, the daily chart at least, they got above and closed above this 518.50. Now we're looking at a weekly chart, so we have 2 more days. Today's Thursday, and if they close above, well, we'll analyze that and talk about it if that happens. Just the time they taken to get to this point, the fact that also this is almost exactly like a symmetrical move here from this low to this high. It's basically the 100% Fibonacci retracement. They spiked above it yesterday, and they're just kind of hanging around that area. And they're pretty far above the moving averages. That basically means they're bullish, but generally there's going to be some type of correction, and they come back toward this 20-period moving average at some point. But it's all been happening on relatively low volume. You've got some pretty big spikes here after the COVID crash, you can call that. And it even goes farther low here. I just have this expanded so you can see this part. Anyway, so yes, above the weekly moving averages, above the daily moving averages. They've got above one of the other smaller time frames. We looked at some other smaller time frames where they got below. So they're bouncing around quite a lot, and it just looks pretty interesting. One more thing. I look at things like this. Here's NVIDIA, and obviously a favorite of a lot of people at this point, but it's just, you gotta wonder at what point they're going to peter out. I for one wouldn't want to be buying up at the highs here, but obviously people are. But then again, and I'll say it one more time, I mentioned this before, I'm not very adept to predicting long-term trend moves. Better with the short-term stuff for these little scalp trades we do in the futures. But anyway, you got to be aware of what's going on in the longer time frames and where the trend is. Clearly, the trend is bullish. But anyway, just some interesting things to think about. We'll go back to take a look at the levels we've calculated for today, which when you look at it, they're pretty far apart. 515, 35 at the very low, all the way up to 525. No telling where they'll be, but if there's moves, they could be sharp moves, and I would just be a little careful trading these levels. Again, they're right around above 523, and we'll take a look at all the trades taken in the E-minis after the market closes this afternoon. See you then. Here we are after the close, and it was a snoozer. No sharp moves to speak of. They pretty much moved around 20 points, give or take, from high to low today, and hit 2 of our levels. Would have produced 2 trades. I kind of was asleep at the wheel for the first one. I can explain why. I didn't get that one. I did take the second one. The whole thing was recorded. So let's just jump in and take a look at it. So I'll roll the tape here, and you'll notice that right after 9:45, they were pretty much right under the level of 523.75. But I saw them come up within 3 pennies or so and fell away really quickly with 2 minutes, and just as soon as they started falling away, way more than what a base hit would have looked like, I just consider that the level, that trade had already happened because of that move there. So I made this line kind of dotted and just sort of stopped paying attention to it and started focusing on 522.15. I had an order to go long if they got down there, and I'll just scrub ahead because, so meanwhile, I'm not really paying attention to this. So just one thing I'm going to explain here is it's valid for a recycle after a certain amount of time. I wasn't really paying attention, unfortunately. So I adjusted the chart to kind of, when they went above here, I thought, well, maybe they're going to go higher to 525.55, and I started looking at it. Well, then they fell away pretty quickly, and that's when I went back and looked like, wait a minute, how much time has elapsed here? I could have taken this for a recycle. So I checked, and sure enough, I dismissed it. So really, the second time around, that would have worked. And as you can see, they hit this level much of the morning, and they finally fell down into 522.15 in the afternoon. And let's see what time that was. It wasn't until after 2 or so. Back up here. So 230, 235, and I just went ahead and bought 2 there. And it worked out. And you'll notice, okay, so they came up close to the level here, but they did not come up 40 cents or more within a couple minutes. So that would be a near miss. I think I've explained this a few times, kind of given some hints here. But so, watching this, I would have second guessed the trade if they had come up 40 cents, but they didn't. So when you see them come down and touch 522.15, it automatically triggered the trade of 2 contracts long, and within a few minutes it was in the bag. So I got 2. Should have gotten. Sorry, I got 2 contracts, 1 trade. I should have gotten 2 trades total had I been paying attention. But that was pretty much it for the day. No other levels were hit, so that kind of wrapped it up. Just one more visual of the trade that could have been, would have been, didn't happen unfortunately for me, and the trade that did happen down here. These levels were important today, pretty obvious now. And for full circle, here is the log with the 2 trades recorded. 2 base hits, 8 ES points. And we'll see what happens tomorrow. Last day of the week. They are still above that kind of line in the sand that we've talked about. I guess we can take a look at it again, but I don't want to belabor the point. But we'll look at it after the market on Friday to whatever happens, because I think it's going to merit some talking points. I don't know whether they're going to make a big move tomorrow. They'll continue to stay pretty sleepy and go sideways. Wait till next week. But a weekly close above that level could mean something different. I'm more expecting a weekly close below that level. But then again, what do I know? Let's just focus on our little levels here. Well, not little levels. Let's focus on the levels in the spiders to take these pretty quick and easy solid base hits the majority of the time in the E-minis. Thanks for watching. Hope you learned something. Have a great day.